How to conquer fear in the astral. The subject of fear is such a popular one on this subreddit because so many new people are getting affiliated with the subject, and this is a good thing. This is what the subreddit seeks out to do, introduce the subject to as many people as possible. This is going to be an overview of fear, why it bothers so many and how to deal with it. This post is long because it's elaborate. The ruling principle of what I'm going to explain derives from Hermetic philosophy. For those who don't know what this is, Hermetic philosophy came to be in the time of ancient Egypt, and it is said to predate all the major religions, to the extent that all religions borrow from Hermeticism. It is the philosophy of the mind, the universe, and our role in it. I highly recommend reading the Kabbalion, for it is a beautiful introduction to the subject and to the 7 Hermetic principles that govern existence. The 4th Hermetic principle is the principle of polarity. It states, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. We are going to use this universal principle to understand fear and how to master it. Think of emotions in the way of this Hermetic principle. Every emotion has its opposite. It is bound to its opposite emotion. Take happy and sad, for example. According to this principle, these are not 2 different emotions. This is one and the same, but it differs by degree. Like up and down, left and right, slow and fast, deep and shallow, positive and negative, light and dark. These are poles of the same thing but with different degrees. Heat and cold, for example, are identical in nature but differ in degree. The thermometer shows many different degrees of temperature, with the highest being heat and the lowest being cold. Between these poles there are many different degrees of temperature. It shows heat and cold, but what is defined as heat and what is defined as cold? When does heat stop and start becoming cold? Heat and cold is the same thing. It is a temperature. Heat and cold are the manifestation of 2 poles that differ in degree, but are one and the same thing. I would like for you to see the emotions in this manner, polarities of the same thing. Once you understand this, you open a door for yourself that leads to mastery of your emotions and therefore mastery of the self. This is what we are going to use. Now for the exercise, the tool, the way of mastering emotions. And note this, mastering this on the level like the ancient Hermetic masters could, extends far beyond mastering your fear of astral projection. This gives you control of your emotions in a way that you decide what you feel and what your mental state is, and make sure that you are not a reactive being that is being blown from left to right by external factors. Imagine you are in a dark room. The only way to banish the darkness is to bring in the light. The only way to get rid of the darkness in your room is to introduce light. You cannot take a shovel and scoop out the darkness. You cannot grab the darkness and take it outside. This bit is important. You cannot get rid of the darkness by focusing on the darkness. The only way to get rid of the darkness is to open a window and let in the light, to flip a switch and turn on the light bulb. Light and darkness are polarities of each other, just like fear and courage. And when you experience fear in the astral, or even better, before you have ever been there in the first place, focusing on fear will bring about fear. The way to master your emotions, the way to mastering your fear, is to focus on the opposite polarity, just like getting rid of the darkness is only achieved by introducing the light. It cannot be dark and light at the same time, so this is how it works. You experience fear, and by the power of your will, you focus on its polarity, and your mental state will follow. You will banish fear by focusing on courage. You will banish a bad feeling by focusing on its polarity. You will banish sadness by focusing on happiness. You do yourself such a big favor by practicing this. Energy flows where attention goes. Regarding the will, this is more than simply wanting something. It is a combination of attention that defines what you want, then focusing on how to achieve, and the energy will follow this path. Do this. Practice this, and you will become a master of your own emotions. Emotions are nothing more than a mental state, and these states can be altered. They can be manipulated and transmuted. Next up, if fear resembles ignorance, then courage resembles knowledge. A very good way to overcome fear by gaining knowledge is Fear of the unknown is fundamental within human nature. Make sure to become knowledgeable. Know what you're talking about. Read books. Watch videos. Take the time to study the subject. You will receive no respect on this subreddit when constantly asking for shortcuts, quick and dirties, or summaries and so forth. Invest in yourself. And finally, again, focusing on fear brings forth fear. If all you do is read about their doom stories, the astral demons, astral hijacking, cutting astral cords, being locked out of your body, and energetic parasites, you are making this so hard on yourself. So, I don't deny the existence of these things. I don't acknowledge them. I simply don't care at all. I refuse to create this little voice, this little demon on my shoulder that is constantly reminding me of all these things that go wrong, and what about this and that. If you create this voice in the back of your mind, that can be very hard to get rid of once it's there. That will negatively influence your abilities to achieve astral projection or your experience. Why would you want to do this? Why would you want to put your self through this? Astral projection is such a beautiful and profound experience to have. Don't taint it for yourself. Focus on the positive and bring forth positive. Fear is nothing but an emotion. It comes, it passes. Whether you dwell on it and let yourself be consumed by it is 100% up to you. Go do it.